Thanks for joining me, Bastish B, for Sega 100%, my ongoing look at all things Sega from classic console games, arcades, and modern releases for retro systems. Now let's check out the first game. And today we're going to look at a bunch of Sega sports games and head on over to the Dreamcast for Virtua Tennis by AM3, released in 2000 on the Dreamcast and was based on a Naomi arcade game which was originally released in 1999. The game is Sega arcade style gameplay through and through with simple controls, a fast pace and plenty of nuances. If you're willing to look past the surface level, it manages to be an easily accessible arcade game as well as a tennis RPG, at least on the Dreamcast version. The game has three main modes: Arcade, which is the straight up arcade version where you win 5 matches from all over the world then face off against the main boss; Exhibition, which is the 2-player or set up your own options to play and can also be played as doubles matches; and finally World Circuit, which is the Dreamcast best exclusive feature, which is basically a tennis RPG. You initially start off ranked number 300 in the world and have to work your way up the ladder. You play matches on all different surfaces which all affect the ball handling. Winning those ranks you up and gains you money, which can be used in shops dotted all over the world to upgrade your equipment, buy new outfits, and even hire doubles partners. Training areas also open up which help you progress, which are basically a bunch of fun mini-games which earn you money and bonus items to continue your tennis quest to be number 1. The tournaments are all unlicensed but are blatantly modeled after real events such as Wimbledon, the French and the US Open. But the game did sport 8 real-life players of that era to play as or against, including Jim Courier, Cedric Pioline and Mark Philippoussis, which makes Virtua Tennis, in my opinion, one of the best tennis games ever made still to this day. It is simplistic but has heavily layered controls which, if you go beyond button mashing, is very deep, including all the forehand, backhand and even slices and lobs, which are mapped to long and faster button presses and timing, which makes it way more advanced than any run-of-the-mill tennis game, if you want it to be, that is. The game's graphics are really top tier. When I played this in 2000, it literally blew me away. The animation is ace, and the fast pace constantly keeps you engaged, and of course it's complete with an absolutely lovable 90s style Sega arcade soundtrack that really only seemed to get better with age. It's originally released and is known as Power Smash in Japan, but it got the Virtua name change for the West to align with Sega's Virtua Striker soccer series, and obviously the Cop and Fighter series, with the Dreamcast also getting an excellent sequel 1 year later titled Tennis 2K2. It's one of Sega's best sports games they ever made, hands down.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
And now a quick look at a Sega classic. And let's jump on over to the Sega Saturn for Pebble Beach Golf Links by T&E Soft, released in 1995 on the Saturn. It is a completely different game to the 1994 Pebble Beach game on the Mega Drive. This is one of my favorite golf games ever, right up there with World Class Leaderboard on my old Commodore 64 and PGA Tour Golf 2 on the Mega Drive. It's a brilliant mix of top-tier gameplay, 90s FMV cheesiness,
Watch me rattle the cup with this putt,
and some of the smoothest jazzy music you'll ever hear in a video game. Despite the fact that you only can play one course, aka Pebble Beach in California, it still manages to have so many options and playstyles, with the full tournament, stroke play, skins, match play, and much more. Plus, mastering the course is a constant work in progress. You can choose between multiple FMV characters for yourself as well as your caddy, and hit up the links that also have variable weather conditions. The game is hosted by real-life PGA player Craig Stadler, and is truly the icing on the cake. He's there to play against, give you advice and techniques on different holes, and generally to subtly insult you
Now I'm going to show you a real professional shot.
or boast about his skills, all delivered in deadpan 90s FMV acting.
I'm Craig Stadler. It's a great day for golf, and there's no place like Pebble Beach.
It truly is amazing. Gameplay is really tight with tons of options, grid layouts, leaderboards, replays, everything you would really want in a golf game. The putting is pretty challenging, so you're going to need a lot of practice, and it is the hardest part of the game, but once you master it, the game infinitely gets better. The graphics are great, and I really love this mix of FMV and polygons, with its on-point sound effects and that jazzy yacht rock music. Really tops it all off. If you enjoy this game, then definitely check out TME Soft's other Saturn golf game, Hyper Golf: The Devil's Course, for a more arcadey, unrealistic version of this using the exact same engine. Overall, with the combination of golf, the Sega Saturn, my favorite console of all time, and of course Craig Stadler himself,
Try your best to match my shot.
what's not to love? And the final sports game for the day, we'll go back to the Dreamcast for Sports Jam. Released in 2001 on the Dreamcast by Sega's WoW Entertainment, based on a 2000s arcade game of the same name. The game is a total arcade experience at home, emphasizing multiplayer gaming against friends, but is still a very fun experience in itself if you play it solo. The game throws together 8 random sporting events or games, and lets you play sequences from them to score cash and become the ultimate sports king. It's total arcade nonsense at its best. There's 2 main modes, arcade and original. Arcade, you go through 4 events and see how much cash you can gain, where you'll also be able to choose the first 3 events yourself, and the final event will be selected out of those previous 3, and this will win you the Sega Sports Jam trophy, and the amount of cash made puts you on the leaderboard. The game is essentially an 80s style score chaser, always egging you on to get that better score. Original mode essentially lets you choose as many sports events as you want to play, and also offers up bonuses. There are 8 different sports, but 12 different events overall, which some are completely different versions of the same sport. For example, there's a Pong-styled ice hockey event, as well as a goalie defending sequence. The entire game only involves one button and the D-pad, and sometimes just simply one button, which makes it super easy to play, but obviously hard to master, as you can go from simple button mashing to precise timing, or generally a combination of both. The 8 different sports represented here are American football, baseball, ice hockey, soccer, basketball, tennis, golf, and cycling. And like I said, some have multiple events. My favorite are definitely the golf and baseball sequences, which are an absolute riot. Sports Jam is a simple reminder of how basic a game can be, yet still deliver a completely enjoyable experience, complete with its own demented sports commentator who's like Wayne Newton on crack. Some really good 3D graphics for the time, they still hold up quite well, and it also has a really bizarre, varied Sega soundtrack that jumps all over the spectrum, but still lands on the over-the-top nature that you expect from one of their arcade ports, and you have a brilliantly fun multiplayer game with tons of variety. The English version of this game, published by AgeTech, is very obscure, but the cheaper Japanese version is easily available and doesn't really suffer from any need for a translation. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Please subscribe to 64K for future episodes of retro gaming goodness.